Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Atlassian co-founder and co-CEO, Scott Farquhar.
It's a little bright up here, don't you think? It's a little loud too. Keep it down, guys. Did anyone else have a good time at Dash last night? Looks like all the people that had a good time at Bash are still out, I think. Come on, did anyone have a good time at Bash last night? Let's hear it for DJ Kanban. I am really excited to be here today. We had our first ever Atlassian Summit over the last 2 days, and I got to spend some time with customers. But it's really extra special for me to get to spend time with you, our partners, because without you, we wouldn't be able to do what we do every day. We wouldn't be able to help our customers. And our platform, what we do, would not be possible without people like you in the audience. I want to thank all our sponsors here today. I thought, why would you sponsor a partner day? That doesn't make any sense. And it turns out that these partners are so invested in this ecosystem. Not only do they want to have a relationship with Atlassian, they want to have a relationship with each and every one of you in the audience as well. And so our partners have booths behind us in the foyer where you came in. If you're part of our ecosystem, please reach out to them. They're really invested in building relationships with all of you in the audience. I also want to thank each and every one of you here today. The work that we do of helping our customers unleash the potential of all their teams, that happens because we can work hand in hand with each and every one of you. Our success at Atlassian is your success, and so I want to say a huge thank you to everyone in the audience, and a round of applause, please. Our commitment to ecosystems started at the very beginning. Back at the very first version of Jira, we gave away our source code for free to anyone that bought a copy of our products. Now, we thought that was the way everyone did it. We came from the open source world. But it turns out today we're still one of the only vendors that gives you our source code when you buy our products. And from that very beginning, it started our commitment to allowing you to customize all of our products, not just tiny bits around the edges. When we gave away our source code, we found that our customers customized huge parts of Atlassian's products, and that's why we've been successful today. A few years later, Mike came to me with an idea. He said, and inspired by the modularity of desktop applications, text editors, IDEs, he said that we should build a plugin system. We should allow people to customize our products without having to change our source code. Like many of Mike's ideas, I thought that was pretty crazy and not particularly something we should do. But Mike didn't listen to me, thankfully, and after a plane trip to the United States, after 14 hours of madly coding on a plane, we had our first version of the Atlassian plugin system. And it's amazing what founder-written code on a plane can turn into. We actually have this thing in Atlassian called founder code. It's the code that got us to where we are today, but needs to be rewritten immediately. The plugin system, I'm probably sure many of you have worked with it and would agree, but it's amazing what that turned into. A few years later, we had our very first AtlasCamp. And this is not a problem with not having a wide-angle lens. That's the entire attendees of our very first AtlasCamp. You can see here we had a projector that I think I brought in my backpack. The eagle-eyed amongst you can see that Mike there looks particularly bored. So I can tell you the exact time of day because I must have been standing on stage at that particular time. And feedback has always been really important. We've always valued your feedback in order to do things better. And back at this first AtlasCamp, we actually gathered feedback one at a time on a whiteboard. Actually today we're going to do that. Under everyone's seat, we each have a whiteboard marker, and we're going to get you to write on these screens after the keynote session. But entertainment has come a long way. DJ Kanban's a big step up from Mike and I entertaining you on Guitar Hero at night. So this is the 10th year of us hosting AtlasCamp, and it's an incredible achievement. This is our first ever European summit. We've actually held AtlasCamp here for the last 5 years. Today, we have over 500 people here for AtlasCamp, and an additional 350 people here for our Partner Day. We have an incredibly vibrant ecosystem. We do over $100 million. You in the audience, you are add-on developers, do over $100 million in commercial license sales through our marketplace every year. And that's in addition, we have probably many times more that through the solution providers in consulting and other activities that you do around Atlassian's products. And so I could regale you with tales of numbers and success, but for me it's all about the human side, the stories of each and every one of you in the audience. And so I pulled back a photo from that very first AtlasCamp. These three people were in that first photo you saw before. And I want to tell you how they've lived their dreams by being involved in the Atlassian ecosystem. And you can tell here that they've probably haven't shipped any code to customers yet because they've got smiles on their faces. They don't yet have any customers to worry about. But each of their stories, on the left is Bob Swift, who built Bob Swift software. Now, Bob was semi-retired before he got involved in the Atlassian ecosystem, happily enjoying his retirement in Minnesota. He's now built almost 40 add-ons in the Atlassian Marketplace just from his home, and has been so successful that he was one of the first ever acquisitions inside our ecosystem. Another company inside our ecosystem acquired him because he was so successful that he required to build a team to support and continue building these add-ons. Rob Castaneda is a fellow Australian. Here he's actually shown at our AtlasCamp wearing a competitor's t-shirt, which I think speaks a lot about the community that we've built here at Atlassian, that people will gladly wear competitors' t-shirts. He built customware, which is now called Service Rocket, into a add-on and consulting powerhouse. He now has multiple hundreds of people working around the world, not only in his home base of Australia, but in Kuala Lumpur, Palo Alto, and Santiago. And Roberto is the founder and president of Kamalatech. Now, Roberto had to take his own leave, vacation from his employer. He paid his own way to the very first AtlasCamp. And he also won the first ever Code Guys competition, our annual developer hackathon. And he's grown his company to dozens of people globally distributed who now work on add-ons in the marketplace. Those are just three stories. We now have over 500 solution partners, people building consulting businesses on the back of Atlassian's products. We have, in addition to that, 550 commercial marketplace vendors, companies that are extending Atlassian's functionality through add-ons in our marketplace. So Bob, Rob, and Roberto, tres amigos, they have lived their lives and dreams on Atlassian, and we're really privileged that we get to create such stories. And I could have chosen almost anyone from that original AtlasCamp 10 years ago, who are here, many of whom are in the audience here today. And the people from that AtlasCamp joined and boarded the Atlassian rocket ship 10 years ago, and look where they've ended up. We are just getting started. We bought Trello. That's a huge opportunity for everyone in the audience. They're just getting started with their ecosystem. We're continually improving our cloud and Connect APIs to make it easier to build things in the cloud versions of our products. We're improving APIs, our documentation. We really are just at the start of this journey. And in 10 years' time, we'll look back at photos from this AtlasCamp, photos of each and every one of you in the room, and we'll marvel at the accomplishments that you have made. So ecosystem is so critical to us. It's so important that we recently brought on a new head of ecosystem. He has a long history of building ecosystems at Apple and eBay. And I'd like to tell you all the things we have in store. I'd like to welcome to the stage Ecosystem Mancini. Cheers, mate. Well done.
Thanks, Scott. We'll work on the Italian pronunciations at a different time for those Italians and Spaniards in here that got the language. So this is my first AtlasCamp, and I'm obviously very excited to be here. This is a great crowd, and I figured I'd start off before I get into the state of the ecosystem, just sharing a little bit about what I've learned in the last 8 months that I've been at Atlassian, and some key things that have come up. One of the things that I have the privilege of doing is having a number of media interviews And yesterday I had 3 of them, and it struck me that we had the same question come up from many of the people here in the front row, which is, why is the Atlassian ecosystem so successful? If you think, and I'll talk a little bit about our success in a minute, and we've announced some things, but I kind of reflect on this because my background is in developers programs and ecosystems. As Scott mentioned, I've been doing this for a while. My first ecosystem work was at eBay over 10 years ago. And what makes this ecosystem different really are 3 things that I think are pretty fundamental. And Scott talked a little bit about the first one, which is open platform. He talked about giving away source code with your license so that you can integrate. I had a conversation with the founder of Zephyr, Samir Shah, who I worked at in the early 90s at a tech company I worked with. And he talked about the story of talking to Scott and Mike and saying, hey, I've got this great idea. And the response that Scott gave was, here's the source code, go figure it out, right? It sounds like a great idea. And that set the stage and the tone for what this community is all about and what this platform is all about, openness. The second thing, and it's also fed from this philosophy, is a caring and passionate community. Once again, another story I love to share is some things that happen here, both at Summit as well as AtlasCamp, where you, our vendors, our partners, our solution partners, are sharing insights into how you grew your business. And you're doing so very openly. And this is very unique from my perspective. And once again, I look at this, I've been in business for a long time, and I think people are used to, especially in the enterprise space, holding their cards close to their chest. They don't want to share all these details. And yet, this community is very open and willing to do so. So that caring and passionate community is something that's very different about us. And then lastly, opportunity. This marketplace is built to help you all be successful. And I'm talking about marketplace vendors, I'm talking about customers who are using our APIs, I'm talking about solution partners who help bring custom solutions and custom fit solutions to our customers. Those are the 3 things that really make us unique. So let me jump into the state of the ecosystem. First of all, I'm thrilled to be here. I'll talk a little bit about why I came to Atlassian and why I'm here to help build this ecosystem platform of tomorrow. I came here for a couple reasons. Number one, I've been an Atlassian customer. I understand the power of the tools. But more importantly, I understand what ecosystems can do to really accelerate our innovation and what we're delivering for our customers. And this is super important because what it does is it enables innovation. I'm a big believer in enabling technologies and enabling capabilities, and ecosystems enable innovation. So I also love the idea that this ecosystem will help so many individuals and companies be successful over time. This is a really big deal, and I'll talk a little bit more about this here in this next slide. So for those of you who weren't at Summit to hear the announcement, the marketplace has reached a pretty critical milestone in its growth, $250 million in add-on sales through the marketplace. Truly a tremendous feat. What's even more amazing is that we have 35 marketplace vendors who have reached the $1 million club. This means they've had total sales of over $1 million in the marketplace. We've had another 4 over $10 million, and another 3 over $20 million. This is a place that you, as a marketplace vendor, as a software developer, have great opportunity, and we want to continue that. So let me transition a little bit and talk about the new opportunity that's happening. Obviously, the marketplace has been around for 4 years. There's been tremendous growth and success. And what we see now is the new opportunity, and this opportunity is open for business. It's called the cloud. New developers and partners are already taking advantage of this opportunity, of the demand for new add-ons from our cloud customers. And of course, we're just getting started. So let me share a little bit of insight into what we've seen with some of our early cloud add-on developers. I know, because I've had a lot of conversations, you all have a dilemma, which is you hear requests coming in for your server products, new features that your customers are asking for, and you have to trade that off to say, am I going to develop for the cloud when you know it's still early, some of our customers are smaller there, but they're getting larger. And so what this graph represents is if we look at some of our top vendors, what is the percentage of new licenses that come to cloud versus server? And you can see that growth trend. The time is right to take advantage of this. We also have strong early momentum with regard to cloud. So in the last year, you all have been listening to us. We've had double the number of add-ons come in just the last year in our marketplace. So back in 2014, when we first introduced cloud, we talked to all of you about wanting to meet that customer demand that we've been hearing so clearly, which is customers want the same capabilities they're getting in server with regard to add-ons in the cloud. And there were very few options to choose from. That's now changed. Of our 3,000 plus marketplace add-ons, over 700 of those are for the cloud. And as I mentioned before, nearly 350 of those came in the last year. So let me share a few examples of the new add-ons that take advantage of the new APIs that we've launched for cloud. So Refine Wiki. I think this is one of the things that we heard from many of you is the ability to do that theming that you've always been able to do in the server. How do we make that available in the cloud? Refine Wiki has done that with a refined theme. And I'll talk about the APIs we're using a little later in the presentation. Code Barrel. Automation in Jira is another thing that if you're doing a P2 plugin was a little easier to address. In the cloud, there are specific APIs that allow us to do this, and Code Barrel released their automation for Jira. And Stepshot. Stepshot has created automation for IT processes and product documentation within the Confluence Cloud. All of these are great new capabilities that are really trying to address the fact that we have a large number of customers using cloud add-ons. We're up to 1.3 million customers each month have their experience inside our products enhanced by add-ons in the cloud. The other part of cloud I want to talk about is something that you probably see everywhere with all the cloud providers, which are integrations. There are hundreds of SaaS providers that exist throughout the industry. Your customers are using them, they're trying to integrate them, teams are adopting these on their own, and the reality is the experience for our customers needs to be how effective are we at integrating these different SaaS products with all of the rest of the cloud SaaS products that we have in our enterprise. Today, a lot of vendors, what they're doing is they're doing straight data integrations. Read, write data, basic integrations. And those are great, and it's great to get all the logos up, but what matters to us are deep integrations. And I think this is an interesting opportunity for you, and as we talk to these partners, is very important to us. So some of these integrations range from an integration with AWS called CodeStar, which is a Jira extension. What it does is it gives you an easy way to develop, build, and deploy applications directly into AWS. And we work with AppDynamics, who've built an add-on for Jira, which automatically creates and updates and maintains Jira issues from within the AppDynamics console. And of course, you can see that status within the Jira issue as well. I was taken by this particular integration because I was worried it was going to be just a straight data integration. And I saw them at our last Connect Week event in Amsterdam, and I thought they did a great job of trying to drive a deep integration into the experience. And then the PagerDuty HipChat cloud extension. So this is about getting rich incident notifications into HipChat, being able to do responder actions and chat ops commands directly within HipChat back to PagerDuty. And obviously, all of this helps us do business in the cloud. So I've talked a lot about add-ons, but I want to make a point because I know probably most of you in the room aren't building add-ons for the marketplace. And I think this is an important revelation. Maybe we've all known it, but the reality is add-ons in the marketplace are the tip of the iceberg for the value that Ecosystem brings to Atlassian and to our customers. Customers and solution partners are creating thousands of add-ons to meet specific needs for their enterprise or for their enterprise customers. Customers like Autodesk, Twilio, and Lufthansa, and solution partners like Precipio, Riata, and Deezer. The ecosystem supports this breadth of developers, whether you're an independent developer, you're a solutions partner, or you're a customer. And as I mentioned, most of these add-ons are never seen in the marketplace. So why am I telling you this? The reason is because collectively, all of your voices help to define our direction. So it's important that you provide us feedback so that we can make sure we enable your success. So my last thoughts on ecosystem. This is an awesome community. You're very vocal. We love that. That's not a bad thing from my perspective. We want to hear where we're doing well and what we need to improve on. And we've heard some things. We do surveys and we get direct feedback. And one of the biggest complaints that we have is a negative experience with our API documentation. So as Brian Rollins mentioned, for those of you who are at Summit, Atlassian supports multiple deployment options, whether that's data center, server, or cloud. We want there to be a choice. Server add-ons and docs clearly are not up to what they should be. They're below, I would consider they're subpar from what we should be providing you when you want to do development in the server and data center world. So how are we dealing with this? We're focused and coming up in our next fiscal year, which starts in July, we're adding teams that are very focused and completely focused on supporting the server ecosystem. And what this means to you is that we'll be updating our DAC documentation, our developer.atlassian.com, you'll hear me call it DAC, our documentation, so that you can easily upgrade and write P2 plugins on your own. And if you do have problems, there's a clear path on where to get help. So you can learn more about this. Keshav Puddaswamy, our head of server product management, along with Chris DeRoche on the server development team, have a session called Server Add-ons for front-end developers on the topic right after this keynote. So this wraps up the state of the business. Now I want to jump into 5 areas that we're investing in heavily. API infrastructure, Trello, of course. You want to learn more about what you can do with Trello, API documentation, support, and design. So let's start off with investing in our infrastructure. This, to me, means what are we doing with our APIs to keep up with the growth of the business and the demands that you have to custom fit the experiences for yourselves and your customers. Now, of course, the cloud continues to expand to meet your needs, and I want to start off first by talking about the Connect APIs. So first, Connect OAuth. So OAuth, obviously, authentication is an important capability to have in general in order for add-ons to work, especially in the cloud. You're not sitting on the server, so you're not inheriting necessarily user rights. We need to have a mechanism for you to act on behalf of the user. And so our OAuth capability now allows you to act on behalf of users without having to set up a special user API or API for user data access. The Connect JavaScript framework. One of the things that's pretty impressive, I've had some conversations with different vendors about tools that they've built for the cloud, and I always ask, well, where do you store your data? How are you managing your cloud servers? And some of them responded, hey, we don't use cloud servers. We write our entire add-on as a JavaScript application. And what that allows them to do is take advantage of these JavaScript libraries and do things like integrate with authentication, make calls to the REST APIs, and build their whole capability, including storing data locally. So in this version 5, instead of having to work with individual disparate APIs across Confluence and Jira and Bitbucket, there's a single unified JavaScript API that works across products. And then our Spring Boot SDK, for those of you developing in Java. We want to continue to invest in making common frameworks so that you can spend more time building and less time on code scaffolding. This SDK will take care of REST API interaction, authentication, as well as UI elements. And for Confluence, custom content module. So what this means is you can declare new content data types, and they behave like built-in native Confluence content types, like pages and blogs or posts. And the theming module, this allows you to create custom space experiences. This was something, once again, I think all of you said, hey, we've been able to do this in the server for a while. It's a lot more of a challenge to do it in the cloud, and this is a capability that we've recently introduced, and I mentioned before, Refined Wiki took advantage of this. And then, of course, workflow, which allows you to do automation with the APIs within Confluence as well as Jira. Now let me talk about Jira for a second. Keyboard shortcuts. Everyone here who uses Jira or Confluence uses keyboard shortcuts. This is a pretty fundamental capability to be able to do things quickly in the application. We've introduced this within the API, so now within your products, you can add keyboard shortcuts so your customers don't have to go to your iframe in order to interact with your product. They can do it from anywhere within Jira. And of course, there's webhooks. Webhooks are great, but you can get inundated with calls to your webhooks. And so we've added extensions that allow you to specify webhooks based on entity properties and be more specific to your needs. We've also added new webhooks for attachments. And the last area I want to highlight is the most requested capability that we got from you all, the most voted on capabilities for API in Jira Cloud, which is JQL, the ability to build JQL functions with Atlassian Connect, and then custom issue fields. So I want to shift gears a little bit to how the platform has evolved. Scott talked about Mike writing the first plugin framework. That was actually probably P1. We have the P2 plugin framework. This was great. You wrote code, it deployed with a product, incredibly rich in functionality because you had access to the Java APIs. But the reality is that's not compatible with a multi-tenant cloud architecture. So we needed to evolve. Our second generation Connect allows add-ons to be built outside the product and you to integrate through REST APIs and leverage that multi-tenant architecture. And then we needed webhooks, obviously, and UI extensions in order to allow you to be able to create the great deep integrations that are so important to our customers. Now we're exploring what we call the ecosystem platform, which really is third generation in enabling Connect to build beyond the product. And part of this is building a services platform. So let me talk a little bit about why. Why do we need a next generation platform? First of all, I can assure you it doesn't mean you have to rewrite your Connect add-ons. So let's get that out of the way. That's not what we mean. We mean extending it to provide more capability. So the immediate benefit is a massive increase in consistency across the developer experience. It increases your development speed and ours, and provides extensibility beyond the product. So let me talk about some of the important capabilities here. Common identity. Identity today tends to be tied directly to the product. We need to have consistent and common identity and allow you to do OAuth 2 to be able to do OAuth 2 grant flows. There's cross-product APIs. What that means is you can build cross-product add-ons. So build a single add-on working across Atlassian products. So why is this important? Once again, for those of you who are at Summit, you heard, I think it was Brian, no, it was actually Jürgen talking about Atlassian Home. Well, Atlassian Home is a great place to bring together an add-on that might work across Jira and Confluence. It's a big deal. So supporting that with cross-product APIs is an important investment area for us. And then webhooks. As I mentioned before, webhooks allow you to get notifications and take actions based on what users are doing within the products. This is very important to cloud development. The one thing I want to share with you is, as we're architecting and evolving the architecture for our own products, including supporting Home, we're starting to tie in our messaging system, our internal messaging, on all events that occur directly into this webhook service. So there's going to be more and more things that you have the ability to get information on and leverage as you're building your experience for your add-ons and your customers. And then lastly, we've been deficient in what it means to provide you as a developer insights into how you're using our APIs. We're investing in this now, and we want to make sure that you can get analytics and reporting on how you're using the APIs, what their performance is, what their response times are, so that you can better architect and manage your own add-ons. All right, so with that, what I'd like to do is introduce Justin Gallagher. I know many of you are eager to hear about Trello and what it means to the ecosystem. So I'm thrilled to introduce Justin, who's Trello's head of product, to take you through Trello.
Thanks, Max. Hi, everyone. It's nice to be here with you today. This has been my first summit, and the last 2 days were amazing. It's also my first time at AtlasCamp, so I'm thrilled to be here with all of you. For any of you who haven't had a chance to check out Trello yet, Trello is a visual collaboration tool that makes it easy to get perspective across just about any kind of project. Through its system of boards, lists, and cards, Trello makes it easy to prioritize and organize your personal and work life in a way that's simple, flexible, and even kind of fun. Now, some of you may have checked out Trello, and you might be wondering how Trello and Jira fit together. For those of you who are, I like to think about it like this. I like to focus on what each of those products individually is excellent at. And when I think about what Jira is excellent at, I think about defined processes with things like structured workflows and requirements like auditability and repeatability. Trello is different, though. When I think about Trello, I think about a much more fluid process where you want to get in there quickly, start collaborating, move things around, get ideas down, and really let your process evolve with you as you work. So as everybody here definitely knows, with products like Jira and the rest of the Atlassian suite, Atlassian has long dominated the tech and developer team market. Trello is used by people across the whole company, from marketing to sales, HR, finance, legal, design. Everybody across companies is using Trello. Now, this is really exciting for us at Atlassian because this gets us a little bit further on our mission to unleash the potential of all teams. But I think this is also really exciting for developers like all of you. There's a huge opportunity here to access new audiences and new markets through what we call our Power-Ups platform. Now, Power-Ups in Trello are similar to Add-ons and the other Jira products that you might be familiar with, the other Atlassian products. The way we think about it is we at Trello are super focused on keeping the core product experience simple and flexible. At the same time, we recognize that there's going to be many users, especially those who get more in-depth with the product, who are going to want just a couple more specific features or integrations with other services that they're already using. And that's where Power-Ups come in. The way this works is that developers like you can build these extra features and integrations and make them available as Power-Ups right inside the Trello UI. This is amazing because it gets the Power-Ups that you all write in front of our users in the context of the boards that they're using every single day to do their work. So let me take you through a few example Power-Ups here to give you an idea of some of the things that are possible. First up, we have Burn Down for Trello. Burn Down for Trello provides metrics, charts, graphs, things like that right on top of a team's board so that they can understand how fast they're moving and what they can do to make things go even more quickly. We have a Salesforce Power-Up that sales teams are using to tie their Salesforce instance in with their Trello board, help them visualize their sales pipeline, and let them make sure that they're putting the right amount of attention on the biggest opportunities and the hottest leads. And finally, we have our own brand new Jira Software and Bitbucket Power-Ups that are letting developer teams collaborate seamlessly across the whole product suite and communicate very easily with teams across the whole business right inside of Trello. So we really think this is a huge opportunity. We've built a completely open API that anyone can build on top of. And as a developer, you have a choice. You can build a public Power-Up. It's accessible to any of our 22 million plus users. If you have a big idea that you want to get in front of the biggest audience possible, that's going to be the way you want to go. On the other hand, we already know that 83% of our paying teams are using at least one Power-Up, and they're hungry for more. So if you're already working closely with customers, you can help them to build Power-Ups specific for their teams to tie Trello in more closely to their own internal processes and other systems that they're using. Either way, I think it's a huge opportunity. So I want to give you a little bit of insight into our product roadmap so that you have an idea of where we're going. It's still early days on a lot of these things, so no promises around timeframes yet, but I still think it's important that you understand the direction we're headed. So first off, we're focusing on discoverability. We want to make sure that our users can find the perfect Power-Up at exactly the moment that they need it. We're adding more power to the platform as a whole as well, and we're doing this by providing easier access to our REST API through Power-Ups and making it possible for Power-Ups to store structured data inside of Trello. And finally, we're adding more depth as well. We're going to add more hooks throughout the UI so that Power-Ups can build more comprehensive features and more in-depth integrations. And we're also working on monetization. We want to make sure that developers like all of you can focus on building the best Power-Ups you can build, and we'll handle the monetization side of things. So to wrap things up here, I want to reinforce the opportunity that exists in this marketplace for the early movers. First off, like I said, we have 22 million users. Not only that, these are super enthusiastic users. They absolutely love the product. They're in there all the time, and they're incredibly anxious to get more capabilities, more features, and more integrations. Not only that, but this is still an early, young platform. We have a lot of capabilities there, but there's wide open space to build premium, top-tier Power-Ups that tons of people will use. If you're an add-ons vendor, there's tons of opportunity to build power-ups that will be used by millions of people. If you're a solutions partner, there's many large enterprise and business customers that are looking for developers just like you to help them further integrate Trello into their own internal processes. And we've made it as easy as possible to get started with all this. We have comprehensive documentation, we have example code, we have starter projects. You can get started from zero to having a power-up in just a matter of hours. So if this sounds good to you, and you want to get started on this as quickly as possible, there's a couple sessions you should check out later today. Hamid Paulo, a product manager on our platform team, is going to be giving a talk on the Trello power-up opportunity this afternoon. And that's going to be followed up directly with another talk by Bentley Cook, developer advocate on our platform team, talking about developing powerful Trello power-ups. And if you're just super excited and you can't even wait that long until this afternoon, head over to developers.trello.com. You can check out the full documentation, lists of all the capabilities, and check out some examples we have there. I'm incredibly excited about this opportunity. I can't wait to see what we all build on this platform together, and I look forward to the future. Thank you all. Hand it back to Max now.
Thanks, Justin. I think that there's some great innovation that can happen on Trello. You all are very creative and think about and know what customer problems we're trying to solve. So I encourage you all to go take a look at developers.trello.com and learn more about power-ups. So let me transition now to what I would consider one of the foundations of a developer experience and the overall developer community, which is our API documentation. As I mentioned before, our docs have been substandard. They were probably great a few years ago. They've fallen behind, and certainly we have lack of consistency, and things are outdated. So the other thing that I've heard is there's a high level of frustration, of course, with new developers coming on the platform, and that's not great for us. And so we need to address that. So last year, Sri was on the stage, my boss, and he announced our participation in the Open API initiative. What this means is that we're embracing Swagger internally as our standard for APIs. And what this means to you is probably more profound, which is it means you'll have interactive API documentation that gets generated and deployed during our build and release process. And developers in the room, you know why this matters, right? Like, we don't fall behind in API documentation because it happens when you deploy code, and that's very important to us. It also means stable APIs. And one other thing we're doing is making sure that Swagger files are available to all of you so you can import those into your tooling that will help you build to our APIs a lot faster. So, of course, a lack of consistency and upkeep was causing a headache for a lot of you. That's why I'm excited to announce our new and improved API documentation. So this is integrated directly into developer.atlassian.com, once again, DAC. And it's a 3-column style. So the idea here is that we want examples embedded directly with the documentation so that you can see what's sent and returned along with all the API calls. So when's this going to be available? I'm excited to say that it's available now for Jira Service Desk, and it will be available for the other products as we continue to roll out that documentation. I have this philosophy in the program that says we want to get things to you as quickly as we can and then continue to iterate. And that you'll see that more and more across a lot of our capabilities. And we'll, of course, moving to Swagger 100% doesn't happen overnight, so JSD's out and more will follow. Now, what about DAC? The overall DAC user experience hasn't been great. We've also recently relaunched this and gone from a fragmented UI that makes content very hard to find in a more unified, beautiful UI that has content sections and better findability of overall docs and content. And of course, there's more to come. So we're continuing this content migration, and the one ask I have from you is, as you identify issues or any problems with the documentation, please provide us feedback. Of course, you can report bugs, and then I'll talk in a few slides about how you can help improve the content through our community contribution program. So let me kind of shift a little bit first and talk about how you, and what we've heard about how you interact with content. I know when I'm dealing with documentation, I love to open 2 windows. One is where I'm working, where I'm writing the code, and the other one is the documentation. and using panes or using split view on an iPad as an example. And that's tough to do if you haven't designed the site in a responsive way. And this is something we've done. So we've rolled out responsive design in parts of the site that are heavily trafficked. We're going to continue to expand on that and add more areas shortly. Now, another important aspect of DAC is how do you keep it up to date? I mean, the problem that we face today is we wrote all this server documentation in the past, and we haven't had the cycles to actually update it over time. So one of the ways that we're doing that, and one of the key capabilities for DAC that we have, is the ability for you to contribute back to the community. We know a lot of you share your thoughts, love to comment on where we should go, and now we've made a way for you to contribute back. And we call this our community contribution process. So the way this works is you get content from the Bitbucket repository, update it, and do a pull request. And now, voila, that content is there for all to use. Let me walk you through an example. So all the pages that are in this new format have an Improve This Page link. Click on that. It brings up Bitbucket, and it looks at, with a nice new look and feel, and I'll talk about that in a minute. I made an edit. I want to go ahead and commit that edit, but it shows that I don't have permissions in Bitbucket. So what it does is it forks the code, or forks the repo, and creates a pull request on my behalf. Here's the pull request, but it's telling me I need to sign the contributor agreement, which I haven't done yet. And all I need to do is sign that once, read the agreement, make sure the email and name are correct, and we pull that from your user account in Bitbucket, so you don't have to retype that in. Click Agree, and you're all set. There's your pull request, and it's going to be reviewed by one of our fabulous reviewers, and then your content is there to make the ecosystem better. So that leads me into the next critical part of the developer experience, support. Support comes in many forms. Everything from asking how to do something, to getting tips, to reporting bugs, to releasing a new add-on, or asking for information about your add-on in the marketplace. The question is, how do you know where to go? This has been a problem. In the past, you've gone to Google Groups, you've gone to Answers, you've gone to different service desks, or for some of you, you know someone at Atlassian and you figure out how to get in touch with them. And that's why we're introducing our new developer community forum. This forum went into beta a few weeks ago, and the reason we went into beta is we wanted to make sure that we got your feedback. We want to understand how you're using it, how you're interacting with the discussions, how you're interacting with each other. And we want to incorporate this into what the final product looks like when we come out of beta. So the other community that launched recently that you may be aware of is the Atlassian user community. And if you haven't looked at it, I encourage you to do so, and certainly if you're an add-on vendor, this is a great place for customers to reach you. So we're looking at the feedback that we're getting from the Atlassian user community as well as the beta developer community and incorporating that into where things will end up in the final developer community. We want a level of consistency across the communities, and that you can expect to see live in the next few weeks. So what is the developer community for? We're going to talk about two different support areas, the developer community and our help desk. So the developer community is for questions and more general ecosystem how-tos, asking for information, looking for some suggestions, and of course API support. What you'll find there, or who you'll find there, are longtime community members, new people looking for information, and Atlassians who are all there to answer your questions. Everyone in this room is a key part of that success, so I encourage you to participate and give back to the community. Scott has mentioned in the Summit keynote how critical this community is to the success of Atlassian and has been to our success over the years. So I encourage you to build up your reputation as you contribute here. I do want to give a special shout out to David Pinn, co-founder of Project Balm. David, are you in the room? David? Okay, David's not in the room, but we'll give him a shout out because he might be watching remotely. So David is one of our biggest and most active community members. Let's give him a round of applause. So discussion forums aren't enough for great support. We need to have a great help center, knowledge base, and ticketing system as well. That's why we've introduced the Developer Technical Support and Developer Service Desk. That is here to help you get the support that you expect and to help me see how your requests are coming in. In the past, when they've gone to all these disparate systems, I have no visibility into how well we're doing with support. So it's really important to get that support request flowing in through the central service desk so that we can manage this and make sure that we're giving you the quality that you deserve. Since October, we've had 450 tickets that have been filed, and 85% of them have been resolved. You can get to this resource by going to go.atlassian.com/devhelp. So one area of support that we've been fairly hands-off is how we help marketplace vendors provide support to our joint customers. Since joining last year, I've always felt we should do more to help you provide service to our customers, whether it's a customer who's asking a question about an Atlassian product and is going to Atlassian support, or they have support needs for your add-ons and they're going to your support. That's why I'm excited to announce today that we're offering free support tooling for all marketplace vendors. I'll tell you more in a second. Hold your applause until I get to the details so you guys know what this means to you, okay? So first of all, of course, when you think support, you're thinking Jira Service Desk. And so we're providing a full instance of Jira Service Desk for 10 support agents, which, of course, you can complement with great cloud add-ons to custom fit that experience for your service desk. And that's not all. We're also including other great tools that help you run your add-on business, not just support, more effectively. You'll get a 100-user license of Jira software, so you can coordinate your support requests against bugs and roadmaps. 100 users of Confluence, so you can quickly manage and update knowledge content to help your help center deflect contacts. And Status Page, so you can show your users how things are running and deflect tickets for known issues. So let me show you how this might work. Here's an example in the marketplace, in this case, Gliffy. You go to the Support tab, and you click on Submit a Support Request. This brings you to the support portal. Click on Technical Support, and that takes you to filing a ticket. Now this information is going to flow directly into your Jira Service Desk so that you can manage that process. So as I mentioned before, all of this tooling is free to Atlassian vendors who sell their add-ons on the marketplace. Now you can give applause. That's fine. So we're accepting applications now, and the URL is go.atlassian.com/marketplace support. And I also encourage you to go to the JSD session later during the sessions and to learn about some of the new API capabilities that can help make your experience even better. So another part the final part that I want to talk about is design. For those of you that were at Summit, you probably heard a lot of the discussion around how we want to make and simplify the experience for our customers, yet keep it powerful. So what does this mean for the ecosystem? Well, Atlassian design guidelines, we say ADG3. This is the new design framework that Atlassian just announced here at Summit. It's focused on simplifying products, increasing usability and consistency, and with the new design for our products, you should be looking to follow suit. Of course, this will benefit our customers and keep that same integrated experience that our customers expect of the user interface when they interact with our products and your add-ons. So if you've built add-ons before, you probably know about AUI, which is the Atlassian User Interface Front-End Library. So of course, for ADG3, we've built in a framework for you to use called AtlasKit. It's built for developers to build web applications quickly. The library was built using React, but if you're not using React in your own add-ons and your own applications, you can still adopt the framework by using our reduced UI pack, which has CSS elements for some of the basic HTML elements. AtlasKit has this new experience built into it. Code is shared, and there are thoughtful and robust APIs so that you don't have to worry about writing for each component, but it's provided for you. Of course, we don't control what goes into your product, into your add-on. Only you choose what components you need to shape your experience. And we focus on making the building blocks easy for you so you can focus on just crafting your add-ons. So here are the components that you'll find within AtlasKit. And where you might find them, what are the design elements that you see in the rest of the product? So building blocks, badges, breadcrumbs, buttons, sidebar navigation, and of course mentions, and avatars, and some things that you see in Jira are drop-downs and date pickers. So these elements are all included within the AtlasKit framework. So this is a great set of UI integration points, and I encourage you to explore those for your add-ons that are available through AtlasKit. You can learn more about this by going to go.atlassian.com/adg3. You can learn about not only the design guidelines, but also AtlasKit. And of course, we have great sessions to learn more. So for those of you that looked at the agenda, you're like, hey, I didn't see anything about ADG3 out there. What's the story? Well, we didn't announce it till the event, and that's why we talked about these design sessions. So you should attend these if you want to learn more, and you'll learn about ADG3 and how you can use it. Also, be sure to sign up for one-on-one sessions. These are always our most valuable sessions, where you sit down with the designer, get feedback on your add-ons, and how you're thinking about integration so that you can get a great experience for your customers. So that covers the 5 big areas we've been investing on to help create the better dev experience for all of you. But I want to talk about a couple other events that we have that you may or may not be aware of. So CodeGeist, this is our annual hackathon. The purpose of this is to have an innovation contest, and last year we had over 900 developers participating, and 130 add-ons were either updated or created in the marketplace as a result of this event. So you can learn more about this at our developer.atlassian.com DAX site. The other is Connect Week, and some of you may have heard of this, some may have not. This is an invitation-only event. It's an intimate event. There's a small number of participants. I think in Amsterdam we had about 80 developers or so, and we tend to have about a 1-to-3 ratio of Atlassians to developers. So it's a great opportunity to accelerate your add-on development, and we have a URL there that you can go to if you're interested in participating in our next event in Austin, Texas. So CWATX Connect Week in Austin, Texas, in case you need to remember that. And of course, no keynote is complete without having a one more thing. I guess what I'd like to say with regard to one more thing is, one of the questions that should have been going through your mind as I was speaking is, yeah, that's all great. You know, we want to be able to build better add-ons. There's great capabilities. But what have you done for me lately? You're in the business, certainly the marketplace vendors are in the business of growing their businesses and getting their add-ons to our customers. And so add-on marketing is critical for us. And I want to cover this for a few minutes. So this year we launched a brand new Atlassian Marketplace to make it easier for Atlassian customers to find those add-ons and meet their needs. The new marketplace certainly makes it easier to explore and find those add-ons. But what does this mean in terms of how customers are finding what you're looking for? What we saw when we launched this new marketplace is a 10% uplift in conversions to try-buy clicks with your add-ons. I don't know how many of you have experience in e-commerce. I came from that world when I ran e-commerce engineering at Apple before I came here. And if we had the ability to get a 10% increase in conversion, that's a truly phenomenal task. And there's more to come. So this is super exciting for me to share with you. And this team is very focused on continuing to drive that number even higher. One of the other things that we're doing in order to drive awareness for add-ons is solutions landing pages. I was having a conversation, I think it was with Daniel Wester yesterday, and he's saying, hey, you know, people find our add-ons, but they have to search for the add-ons. That's great. But that means that you all have to do your own marketing, and you should. But we also want to help you by helping customers discover the add-ons when they're searching for their solution. So we just launched today at the show our new solutions landing pages that help customers not only learn about solutions, but find some of those key add-ons that are available for them, as well as search all the rest of the add-ons in that particular solution space. And more of those will also be coming. So to wrap up, I want to share a few highlights, right? So number one, We're still early in cloud. There's plenty of opportunity. And this extends, I want to be really clear, this isn't just about add-on vendors selling in the marketplace. This is also for solutions partners. Customers are going to the cloud, we see it. There's tremendous opportunity to be thought leaders for your customers as they're asking the question, how can I bring my experience to the cloud? In Europe, there's even more challenges in doing that. So there's a great opportunity here, and we want to partner with you to get you there. So learn how to build add-ons for the cloud. That will help all of us in the long run. Feedback matters. So keep that coming. Continue to provide that. We launched the discussion forum as an opportunity for you to provide feedback not only to us, but also to talk with the community to understand what's going on, to learn how to do things, but more importantly, to help us understand how we're doing. And lastly, I want to reinforce, I am here. I was brought into this company to run this group, and I've brought in people on my team so that we can help you be successful. That's why we're here. And so I want you to understand, and I want to get feedback from you on the things that we can do in order to drive more success. And the way I look at this isn't just about you selling your add-ons. This is about meeting customer demand. We want to help customers find the things they're looking for. We want to help you understand what they're looking for so that we all share in that success. So there's a few things I want to highlight with regard to the session. You should absolutely take advantage of the interactive opportunities, the one-on-one experience and one-on-one meetings. There's lunchtime table topics, so as you walk out to the right, on the left side of the food area, you'll see blue tablecloths. We have lunchtime topics. I encourage you to participate in those. And we did add one more thing that may or may not be on your agenda. I don't know if it's in the agenda or not, but take note. For those of you who have a lot of feedback, and I know there's a number of you out there, with regard to how we're doing both on our user community as well as our developer community, we have added a special session tonight at 5:30 to 6:30 to talk about community discussion boards and feedback. So I'll be there, as will Leslie Lee. I think Leslie is up here in the front somewhere, who runs our Atlassian community, our overall user community, to listen to your feedback and also share insights on how we've done certain things and why we made certain decisions. So with that, I thank you very much for attending AtlasCamp, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the show and the sessions and learn a lot. Thank you very much.